everyone, Rebecca, aka That Sourdough Gal here. So I have been testing 4 of the most popular high-end stand mixers for home bakers, and after tons of research and testing, I'm finally ready to share my opinions. We are talking about the Ooni Halo Pro, the Ankarsrum, the Bosch Universal Plus, and the KitchenAid Bowl-Lift. And spoiler alert, one of these I think is absolutely not worth your money for bread baking, in my opinion. But before we get into that, let me just say, the article I published on my website is not just my opinion. That was important to me. We all have different needs and styles, so there are literally hundreds of voices reflected in the comparison article. I also got feedback from legendary bakers like Daniel Leader, the queen of the open crumb, Adelina Roberts, and several micro bakery owners, and many more bakers and educators that you will probably recognize from social media. Plus, I ran side-by-side tests, and if you have been following along on social media, you know I have been putting these mixers to the test for months, in some cases years. So, if you're thinking about dropping $500 to $800 on a stand mixer, my hope is that this video will save you from making an expensive mistake. And it's not that buying any of these mixers is the mistake, it's just making sure that it's the right mixer for you. I also just wanted to throw out there that I will soon be testing super budget stand mixers. I think I've got 8 of them under $200 that I will be getting out and putting to the test over the coming months. I know these higher end stand mixers are not doable for a lot of people, so I'm definitely on a mission to find the best value for the money for you, so just hang tight for that one. All right, let's start with a quick overview of what we're looking at. First up, we have the KitchenAid Bowl-Lift. This is the one I've had for years. It's $650, has 11 speeds, and honestly, it's beautiful to look at, but beauty doesn't need dough very well, does it? More on that one in a bit. Then we have the Bosch Universal Plus at $499. This is the most affordable mixer of this bunch. It's got a massive bowl, a 500-watt motor, and I see micro bakers using this everywhere on social media. Then we have the Ooni Halo Pro at $799. It's brand new to the market. It's a spiral mixer designed with 20 speeds and the most powerful motor at 650 watts. Then we have the Ankarsrum, which is also $799. This Swedish-made mixer has been around since 1940, and it's got a 7-year warranty, which is the longest of the bunch. Now, everyone always asks me, do you really need a stand mixer for sourdough? And honestly, no. You can make amazing sourdough by hand, but if you're mixing big batches of dough, working with stiff doughs, trying to develop a window pane quickly, or like getting inclusions mixed in, a stand mixer can make that a lot more enjoyable. But the problem is not all stand mixers are created equal, and that's why we're here. So let's talk about some of these side-by-side tests I did with these. First up was whipped cream. I got a lot of requests for that one. Each mixing bowl got 2 cups of heavy cream, a 1/4 cup of sugar, and a little bit of vanilla extract. The Ankarsrum got to stiff peaks first. That double whisk design is just super efficient. Bosch came in second, also with a double whisk, but a slightly larger bowl. The Ooni was third, not bad considering it's a single beater design with a spinning bowl. The KitchenAid came in last, which honestly surprised me a little bit, but they all did fine. Some just took a little bit longer, but there were really no deal breakers with that test. I also got asked a lot about cookie dough, and I can confirm all of these mixers can handle cookie dough with no problem, so I have no complaints there. The other major test I did was mixing classic sourdough bread in each stand mixer, and this is where I think things got really interesting. I made the exact same dough in all 4 of these mixers. It was 540 grams of flour, 360 water, 44 starter, and 10 grams salt, about 69% hydration. And I really just wanted to answer 4 questions with this test. Number 1, how fast do they incorporate the ingredients? Number 2, do they leave dough bits all over the side of the bowl? 3, how much do they heat up my dough? And 4, how long to reach a window pane? The Bosch incorporated all of the ingredients the fastest. Within 1 minute, we had a good dough ball. But the KitchenAid, at the 5-minute mark, I had to come in and help it with a spatula. It just could not incorporate everything by itself. For temperature, the Ankarsrum barely heated the dough at all, which was a major win. The Ooni actually heated up the dough the most, but honestly, I've never noticed texture issues with my dough when I mix in the Ooni, so that one actually did surprise me. The Bosch used to overheat my dough the most, to the point where it would start affecting the texture and consistency of whatever I was making, but I found that simply not using the centerpiece of the lid resolves the problem, so it's not really a deal breaker for me anymore. The Ooni Bosch and Ankarsrum all hit a nice window pane within 12 minutes or less, but the KitchenAid, 38 minutes, and we barely had a weak window pane, and that's being generous. So let's break down each mixer individually, and I'm gonna get into all the nitty-gritty details here because I want you to really understand what you're getting into with each one of these mixers. I have had this KitchenAid since 2018. I know this machine inside and out. We've been through a lot together, and I'm just gonna say it up front. If you are primarily a bread baker, I would advise you to skip this one. I'll explain why, but first I wanna start with the pros because there are some good things about this machine. It's not all bad. First, I think it's a pretty stand mixer, and there are so many attachments available. I have the pasta cutter and the roller. You can also buy like a meat grinder, spiralizer, ice cream maker. There's a ton. The list just goes on and on with this thing. The bowl, I like that you can use it for both the mixing and the proofing, so it's just one less thing to clean. It also handles lighter tasks beautifully. Cookies, cakes, whipped cream, frosting, no complaints there whatsoever. It's great for that. It's also one of the fastest to assemble and disassemble. I can have this set up in under a minute, which makes you want to use it more. And most of it's really easy to clean. The bowl and attachments just pop in the dishwasher, though there is an exception that I'll get to in the cons list. Another thing is because so many people have KitchenAid stand mixers, it's really easy to compare your process, your mixing times, your results with other bakers. There is just a huge community surrounding the KitchenAid. Also, they often go on sale. I routinely see them listed for $100 less on Amazon than what's on the KitchenAid website, and I always see it as part of like Prime Day and Black Friday deals. But there are some cons, okay? And there are a lot of them for bread bakers specifically. So let's start with the dough hook. It is just not effective at mixing your ingredients together. With the Ooni, Ankarsrum, Bosch, all of these, you can just dump all your ingredients in, turn it on, and walk away. A couple minutes later, you're gonna have a cohesive dough ball. But with this KitchenAid, I am constantly stopping it to come scrape down the sides, push the flour from the bottom up into the center. It is just frustrating to work with. And here's the big one. It is very ineffective at strengthening dough. We're talking like 20 to 30 plus minutes to achieve a window pane, and even then, it's questionable. In the test that I filmed, which I'll show you, it took 38 minutes and we still barely had a weak window pane. It's a generous statement. These mixers can do it in 12 to 15 minutes. This machine also has a tendency to walk off the counter at higher speeds with bread dough. KitchenAid actually recommends keeping it at speed 2 for doughs, which is much slower than what these other mixers can handle. Anything beyond speed 3 with stiffer doughs, and this machine's gonna struggle. It can stall out, it can even start smoking. I cannot tell you how many messages I've gotten from people that their KitchenAid finally died making some kind of dough. It feels like it happens a lot. Dough also will climb up the dough hook while mixing, and it wraps around the top here, getting stuck in crevices, which is very annoying to clean. This little area here, it's gross. And I have to mention, it can be dangerous around kids. If little hands get anywhere near this thing while it's running, the machine could seriously hurt them, like rip off a finger probably. Can't get it on. But the other mixers here don't really have that problem. Not that your kids should be like sticking their hands in a stand mixer or anything, but you get the idea. Some of the attachments are not dishwasher safe. If you don't hand wash and towel dry them immediately, they will oxidize and form that very annoying gray residue. I hate that. You can buy different attachments, which is something that I've done, but it is an extra cost. It doesn't come with the machine. But the bottom line is, if you primarily make bread, the KitchenAid Bowl-Lift is not worth your money, in my opinion. If you already have one, there are ways to make it work, like mixing in stages and adding in rest periods and then switching to stretch and folds. But if you're shopping for a brand new mixer, I would not spend a dime on this one. I would save that money and put it toward one of these mixers that we're gonna cover next. Now for the Bosch. This one is really interesting because it's the most affordable at $499, and it has this massive bowl capacity that smaller micro bakers absolutely love. So let's talk about the pros. The motor is incredibly powerful. It does not stall, smoke, or dance around on your counter, even with very stiff doughs like bagel doughs or pasta dough. People report these things lasting for generations. I have heard from multiple bakers whose Bosch mixers are 30, 40, even 48 years old and still going strong. There are lots of attachment options available, and the whisk attachment is top tier. We get this machine out every single time we want to make a pimento cheese dip because it's just so fast and effective. These things are great. It fits more dough than any other mixer here. The brand says up to 14 pounds. I have seen bakers fit 6 loaves by getting creative, though 4 is probably more comfortable. It whips the dough around so well that it rarely leaves any dough bits clinging to the sides of the bowl. It was the cleanest on the inside after all of my testing. I also like that the cord can be pushed in and pulled out for really tidy storage, which I love. Also, this machine is super lightweight. It's only 12.75 pounds, which makes it very easy to move around if you need to store it and bring it back out. And there's suction cups on the bottom that keep it planted during mixing, so it's not gonna move everywhere. It incorporates ingredients the fastest out of all of these mixers. Like within a minute, you'll have a dough ball. But there are some cons with this one. So the lowest speed, speed 1, is actually pretty fast, faster than the lowest speed on all of these other mixers, which has benefits, but it also means that you can't mix gently when you want to. Also, and I think this is my main issue with this one, is getting the dough out of the bowl is awkward thanks to this center column in the middle. You're kind of like working around it, and it's just not ideal. I don't know. This machine does heat up the dough quite a bit, but I have found that, like I mentioned earlier, just removing the centerpiece off the lid solves this so the dough can kind of breathe, and it allows any heat that's building up to dissipate up and out. The dough hook is not dishwasher safe. If you run it through the dishwasher, the metal on the top will oxidize and you get this grayish residue. It's not harmful, but it's annoying. If you watch my stories on Instagram or Facebook, you know how much I hate hand washing things. I just hate it. And that center post thing that's in here also makes it not ideal for proofing anything because you need to transfer everything to a second bowl after you mix it. The bowl is huge, which is great for capacity, but it also has drawbacks like taking up the entire bottom half of the bottom rack of my dishwasher. You could hand wash it, you probably should, but I rarely do that. So I did buy the stainless steel bottom drive bowl, $250 upgrade, but honestly, I did not love it. It does not feel secure because it doesn't lock in, and getting the dough hook in place is a struggle. The bowl that this comes with is plastic. A lot of people really want stainless steel, which is a $100 upgrade for the center column version of this, or this $250 bottom drive upgrade. My personal take is that the Bosch did perform better in testing than I remembered previously, but there's still something about it that does not make me excited to grab it. Several times I decided to just hand mix with the Danish dough whisk because getting this out felt like more work than reward. It does have a great capacity, which is great for smaller micro bakers who don't want to buy a huge mixer yet. It makes it a solid choice for them, and it is a good machine, but at the end of the day, it just had some quirks to it that left me looking to other machines. Let me talk about these next. Okay, so the Ooni. This has become my personal favorite stand mixer. Let me give you all the details though, and we're gonna start with the pros because there are a lot of them. This machine, it's a beast. It has a 650 watt motor, which is more powerful than any of these stand mixers. It doesn't slow down, stall, smoke, none of that, no matter what you throw at it. And I've thrown a lot of stuff at this thing. It has a built-in timer that stops the machine when it hits 0, which that sounds simple, but it is so convenient because you can set it for say 5 minutes and then walk away to do dishes, answer emails, get your kids ready for school, whatever. And it has 20 speeds, which gives you ultimate control over what you're mixing. You can switch between a percentage display or RPMs. I prefer the percentage, but having options is nice. And speaking of the display, there's a light in the bowl for better visibility, which I just love that feature. The dough hook positioning here in the back is such that it feels safer around my kids. And again, I'm not saying that kids should just be sticking their hands in a stand mixer while it's running. Obviously don't do that. But it's just designed in a way that there's less immediate danger. Like you can put your hand right here compared to something like the KitchenAid. This center pole here is amazing. It helps with gluten development, and it also prevents the dough from riding up the machine. This is a feature that you typically only see in like huge commercial stand mixers, but we get it in a home version, which is so nice. There is just so much attention to detail with this machine. Like there are 2 levers here on the side to lift up the top, but you only need to engage one, which leaves your other hand free if you need it. And there's lots of little things like that, and they add up. The details matter. Devil's in the details, you know? It is a heavy machine at 32 pounds, which actually ensures it doesn't move or walk across the counter during mixing. There's a fan that automatically turns on to cool down the motor when it gets too hot, and this machine achieves a window pane in record time, usually like 7 to 12 minutes consistently. If you're a military, veteran, student, healthcare worker, emergency services, or a teacher, you can get 15% off by verifying that. Some people have also reported getting 10% off by signing up for an email newsletter via a pop-up. But for the cons, there are some cons. It only has these 3 attachments right now, the dough hook, the paddle, and the whisk. So it's not super versatile yet, but it is brand new to the market. So I'm hoping that over time, Ooni will create more attachments so we can get more out of the machine, but we don't know that. Also, with small batches of dough, the dough does tend to walk up the dough hook a little bit. It doesn't get stuck in crevices like what happens with the KitchenAid, so it's a little less annoying, but it still happens with like really small batches. It's pricey at 800 bucks, but that's the same price as the Ankarsrum, and it's the same as the Bosch if you get the bottom drive bowl upgrade. It is the heaviest mixer, which matters if you're manually lifting it like in and out of storage. I have a stand mixer, like a lift cabinet in my kitchen. So for me, it's less important because I'm not lifting it all the time. But if I didn't have that, I would care. But here's why I love it. When I think about getting out the Ooni and using it, I am genuinely excited. It's easy to use, easy to clean, everything's dishwasher safe, and it works. There is no babysitting, no constant adjusting, no quirks about it. Just turn it on, set the timer, walk away, and come back to perfectly developed dough. And that is what I'm looking for in a stand mixer. Now for the Ankarsrum, which is probably the best stand mixer on paper, and let me explain what I mean by that. The pros are very impressive for this machine. It is an extremely established and respected brand. It has been produced and assembled by hand in Sweden since 1940, which is pretty incredible. The warranty on this is the best of all these machines at 7 years. I think that's incredible. It really speaks to how much the brand obviously believes in the durability of their product. There are tons of attachments for this one. There are pasta extruders, a blender, graters, you name it. This is the most versatile mixer of the bunch in terms of what you can do with it. Here's something huge. It does not overheat your dough during mixing, like at all. This one kept the dough the coolest of all the machines in my test, which means you can essentially mix your dough for as long as you want without worrying about overheating it, which gives you a lot more power and options for what you want to do. It has this unique dough roller that's very gentle on the dough, and it mimics hand kneading. It also has a dough hook option, so you do get both. This is the dough hook. It's just a beautiful machine. This thing could live on your counter and it would look beautiful. And once you get the hang of it, it is easy to assemble and disassemble. All the parts are dishwasher safe, and the bowl comes with this lid, which is awesome for proofing your dough in the same bowl that you mix it in. Now for the cons, I often find that I have to help this machine during mixing. I'm adjusting the arm placement, moving the scraper back and forth to pick up bits that aren't getting mixed in and getting stuck behind it. It's hands-on in a way that these other ones aren't. There's definitely a learning curve with this one, and it's not learning how to like just turn it on. It's about the arm placement and learning about where it's supposed to be for the specific dough type, which takes research and practice. It's not like it's hard to use, I just think it's more challenging to master it. It takes a little effort on your part. With the dough roller, it does take a little bit longer to reach a window pane than the Ooni or the Bosch. It's not a ton longer, but it's a little. And I'm not the biggest fan of these dials here at the bottom for speed and the timer. It's just not as precise as the digital display, for example, on the Ooni. It's expensive at $800, but like I've said, it's right in line with the Ooni or the Bosch with this bottom drive bowl upgrade. The attachments are expensive too, so even though this machine is super versatile, you're going to pay for it if you want to unlock all the versatility that it has to offer. If you want to use the whisk or beater attachments, you have to swap it out for an entirely different bowl, which it's not like it's a huge deal, but this is like the most amount of things to store. So here's my honest take. The Ankarsrum is growing on me, and I genuinely think it might be the best mixer on paper when you look at things like durability, the warranty, versatility, dough temperature control. But in real life, I find myself reaching for the Ooni more often because I don't want to stand here making adjustments. I want to start the machine and walk away. But I do just feel the need to emphasize that this is just my personal opinion and experience. There are buckets of bakers, like so many, that absolutely rave and love about this machine. They wouldn't trade it for the world. It is a truly fantastic machine, and I have zero hesitation in highly recommending it. I reached out to some serious bakers for their takes on these machines, and I want to share a few of those highlights and quotes with you. So Adelina Roberts, you may know her as Bread Stalker, the queen of the open crumb. She said of the Ooni that it mixes dough to perfection while maintaining excellent extensibility, which is very important for open crumb sourdough. She called it a game changer. Daniel Leader is a legendary baker and author who uses both a KitchenAid and Ankarsrum at home, and he said something really important. He said you have to adapt the mixer to your product. It's not one size fits all. So he adjusts his mixing based on his fermentation plan, and he works with each machine's strengths. So his message was that no mixer is better than another. It's just learning how to adjust your process to fit the machine. Parker from Basil and Bloom said about the Ankarsrum, it's a bread baker's mixer and mixes beautifully once you get the hang of it. And Jocelyn from A Friend in Need had this to say about the Bosch. It handles low hydration doughs well in bigger batches, but the dough heats up quickly. Don't forget, there is a link in the description to the full blog post where you can read detailed reviews from all of these experts and many more that I interviewed about these machines. So final thoughts. After months of testing and going back and forth, which one do I actually recommend? And the answer to this is the ultra annoying it depends. For dough-focused bakers who primarily are making bread, pizza, pasta, bagels, get the Ooni. It lives in my stand mixer cabinet for a reason, and that's because 95% of the time I'm making dough, and I am just in love. It's like my ride or die at this point. I can't imagine baking without it. But for versatile bakers who want one machine for everything and plan to buy attachments, get the Ankarsrum. The 7-year warranty speaks volumes about its durability, and it is just a rock solid investment. For micro bakers or those on a tight budget who need a bigger bowl capacity and a super strong motor, get the Bosch. At $500, it's the most affordable here, and with my code TSG20, you can save another $20 off that. And the KitchenAid, if you already have one, like I said at the beginning, you can make this work by taking breaks and switching to stretch and folds at a certain point. But if you're shopping for a brand new mixer specifically for making bread, I just can't recommend it. So to wrap up this whole thing, I know $800 is a lot of money. That's exactly why I spent months on this review, because I wanted to give you the real story, not just some sponsored recommendation. None of these companies have paid me to say anything. The Ooni, the Bosch, and the Ankarsrum are all sent to me, but all opinions are 100% mine. And honestly, I probably would have bought the Ooni with my own money if they hadn't sent it to me. I mean, I did buy one to give away back in July, but anyway, if you want more details, like a lot more details about all this stuff, including those reviews from other bakers, please check out the full blog post that is linked below. In that post, you will find comparison charts, more test results, and tons of feedback from other bakers, plus those expert reviews. If you have one of these mixers and want to share your experience, please drop a comment below. I love hearing from you, and other people in the market for a mixer will definitely appreciate your input, especially if you bring up something that I have not mentioned in this video. If this video helped you, it would mean the world to me if you liked it and subscribed to my channel for more sourdough content. I've got lots of recipe tutorials, troubleshooting guides, and more product reviews coming your way. Thank you so much for watching, and good luck picking a stand mixer. Happy baking.